where do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
Oh, where do I see myself in the next 5 years?
Yeah.
As a husband, I think.
Okay. And with
No,
respect.
I'm kidding. Um, India number one, probably.
A gold medalist at the Commonwealth Youth Games, currently ranked fourth among the Indian tennis players, the man from Hyderabad. I'm humbled to introduce our guest for today, Shashi Kumar Mukund. Hello, Mukund. Welcome to the
What's up?
show. And how? Nothing. Yeah, you tell me what's up with you.
Nothing much. Just happy to be back on tour, and yeah, it's quite scary to travel right now because I'm getting tested almost twice every week, and I'm quite nervous before it because I don't want to end up having something and getting quarantined in the tournament location. But yeah, fingers crossed. It hasn't happened so far.
Yeah. Hopefully it won't. Yeah, I'm sure you must be taking all precautions that are needed to be taken. So
yeah, I'm not opening my mouth unless for eating. Then the mask is on, otherwise all the time.
Yeah. So Mukund, last time we spoke was during the lockdown, and you said that you started trading in the stock market. So how was that experience, and how many successful and profitable trades did you make?
I mean, I didn't actually. I could have made much more profit on the same companies that I did invest, but I exited a bit too early. So
yeah,
I have some money. I think I made like 2 lakhs or something, and then I've stopped trading because it's tough to do it with tennis.
Correct. And now that you're back, obviously it's a little scary, as you said. With respect to the testing, and you might get, you have to be so cautious. But how does it feel to be practicing and to be back on court again? How is that feeling?
It's definitely goes both ways. I'm very happy at the same time, but also not being able to play like before. Little bit, definitely much fitter after all the fitness during the lockdown, and some things are just much better than before. That's a good thing, but still to get used to the new conditions and to travel again and everything, it also feels not so used to.
Correct.
Now, absolutely. Like a 2-hour flight feels forever, 9 hours, 10 hours was nothing, but now I'm just even a short flight, even a short travel, it feels very stressful.
Correct. But I'm sure eventually, you will get back to it. We've lived a life, just succumb to our homes for like 7-8 months, right? Yeah. So I feel eventually we will all get used to it, Obviously, it won't be the same again, probably, but let's see how it goes. So, Mukund, you recently also played the Shibuya Open, right? So tell me about your experience there. How was it? How was the tournament all in all?
Tournament was, they did what they could. It's a very small city and a small club. The city was beautiful. It was like very old, one of those vintage what you see in the video games, like castles and old streets and otherwise it's not one of the best tournaments, I think, but they did what they could do best. They did their best to make it go smooth, and also there was a lot of testing, and it was the first tournament in this year's record books that everyone were negative. There was not one positive. Otherwise, all the other challengers had at least 2-3 people or coaches or somebody had the virus. This was the first one where everyone from referees to coaches to players, they were all not having the virus. So that was like a state of relief on the first day, so people could act normal on site. We didn't have to take that much. Of course, we were wearing masks and everything, but we weren't looking at someone and walking away from them, so we were behaving normal because we know that everybody there is clean. So that was good. And other than that, nothing much.
And what about your experience as an athlete? Like, how was how were your matches at the Open?
It was good. I mean, I still did many things wrong, I think, because tactically and the brain just works much slower now. It reacts slower to many things because it's many months I didn't compete. So this was, but I think other than that, because I was physically fit, it was still a match. I mean, it didn't look
Yeah.
very bad. It just looks the strategy and everything looks a bit off, but other than that, I could play tennis definitely.
Yeah.
Which, if I didn't do anything and sit at home, then first of all, I wouldn't have come to CBU to play, but it would have looked much worse.
Yeah. So, Mukund, since you're now saying that from like your reflexes have become slower, the way you can think has become slower now, right? So, how do you think eventually you can improve on that? What is it that you think is going to help you get back to what you were on court?
I think first of all, I'll never be someone what I was because things have changed now completely. It's a different body now. So it feels different on court. So I can move faster, and so all those things are different. So I don't think I'll ever be the same player again. And how I see the sport has changed. I'm just happy to be back as opposed to not trying to win or lose before. So at least for a few months, it's just going to be different that in that perspective. I can only get to the best of what I am right now. And
Correct.
second thing, I think it's just a matter of time till that comes back because there's nothing much you can do to force it. I think it has to fall into place by itself. And
With time.
I can try to play more matches and more practice sets in the tournaments with the other guys and just wait for it to come.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you rightly said it's only time that can, heal that and that can get you back on track. And obviously, I'm sure, you're gonna put in your all with respect to the practice and whatever else it needs to get you
Yeah.
back. So now, Mukul, moving on to there have been, since US Open also happened and now French Open qualifiers are also going on and are almost done with. So, so with US Open, let's start with that. What do you feel about Djokovic's, his disqualification? What are your views in that?
I mean, I've gotten asked this couple times already, and first of all, it was super unlucky. I think even if
Yeah.
a person is standing, 20 meters away to aim, even if you're looking there and trying to hit them, in 5 tries, you're
Exactly.
probably gonna get one because it's super tough to aim and hit a tennis ball somewhere. So he wasn't even looking back, and this ball exactly goes and hits her throat. I mean, this is one in a million incident, and it's just very unfortunate on his side. The ball could have gone anywhere in the stadium
Yeah.
other than a throat. And but I think, and also people have asked me if it was a packed stadium and Roger was there, would the same thing have happened? Would they have supported him a bit more, or are they biased towards Novak because of the Players Association? Are they pissed with him? You'll never get the answers to these questions because I think in a Grand Slam, Serena was American and they still disqualified her. So I don't think
Yeah.
a Rafa or a Roger would have gotten a different treatment. I think the law is fair to everybody at least in the Grand Slams. At least I would like to believe that. Uh, as a world number one, I think he should have owned his thing better. I mean, if it's in the rule books that if it hits somebody, then yeah, of course it's up to the organizer later to excuse it or not. If there were 15,000 people watching, that's their choice. But
Correct.
what's in the rule book is in the rule book. If you break 7 rackets, you're still not disqualified. So I mean, as the best in the sport on the planet right now.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
understand the frustration, though. I really, as I'm a player, as him, obviously not as good as him, but I can understand, how it feels in some moments. You just lose control of yourself, and yeah, it can definitely happen. But it's just an incident that will probably be the last time that it happens for a couple of years now. Because
Yeah. So, Mukund, I completely agree. And plus, I feel that, something like this acts as precedence for others, because you don't only have to, safeguard the players, but again, the umpires and the ball boys and everybody. So, when they are on court, obviously, they are most prone to getting injured, right, with the ball. So, I feel it's very important, this way, even they get safeguarded through these rules. So, it's obviously, it acts as. Can you hear me, Mukund?
yeah, I can hear
Yeah.
you.
So obviously, I think this incident really acts as a precedence for whatever follows in the future. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if they don't disqualify Novak now, then everybody will start hitting the ball around, and then there's no
Correct.
value to the rule, isn't it? Of course, they can. Of course, I understand whether he's world number 1 or world number 100. He's human and he can feel angry. That's a different story. Why should it? Why should a human emotion not come to a number 1 player? He can, but it's just that sometimes it's about the tradition and the respect of the rule itself. Because if they don't do it to him, then it has no value for being in the book, right?
Correct.
Then no rule has that value. Then you can do whatever you want, and then if they start excusing, then it's one after the other. They have to keep doing it forever. So
Yeah.
there has to be someone who's taking a stance and saying, listen, this is what the rule says, and we have to stick by it. And I'm sorry, and I'm glad they did that, because that safeguards the future of the sport and the respect and the tradition of the sport itself and the integrity. So that's I think an important move and respectable, I think.
Absolutely. Mukund, also, since you also mentioned about the PTPA and everything, right? So you also were someone who signed, signed for that. So tell me, what exactly do you feel about that entire situation, and why did you sign up for it?
I mean, to be really honest, it's just that I'm so done with the ATP right now that in the morning I woke up and at 8:30 I saw the email. I just signed it. I didn't even, think what is it, or the minute I knew it was something to not allow blunders to happen, I just signed it. Because the thing is, I am just so done with it. In the last 2-3 years at least, I mean, I did get affected a lot by that transition tour thing, because I had to play qualies in challenges again, and I didn't play, in my opinion, many slam qualies. But I still got out of it. I was one of the guys who was able to fight through that and get and make my way into challenges. But there are so many guys who are still struggling today. Many of my close friends, and they play a super tie break in the third set, which is just absurd. Futures qualifying is you win one set, the other guy wins one. The match is decided by a 10-point match tie break. I mean, what is this? Anybody can win that. I can beat Rafa on clay if I win the first point, 5-6 points of the tie break, and I get lucky 1 or 2 points, it's over in like 6 minutes. So these are just things that cannot be approved by organization. I don't know how it got approved. So it's just things like this that it's just been inside me for a couple months and years now. And the minute I saw something other than that, I just signed it. I didn't even think that much, because there was nothing more. Yeah, there was nothing to analyze. It's just was just a very clear choice.
So, what's happening with that right now? Has it moved forward? Have they started their work?
I don't care, honestly. I really don't know if it's moving forward or not, but I am sure it is, because as I know, I don't know Novak personally, but I know Vasek personally, and I think Vasek is a very intelligent guy. He's also academically super intelligent. When you talk to him, he's one of those gentlemen on tour who really knows what he's talking, and apart from the tennis court as well, he's a super smart guy. So I think something that he is doing I'm sure Novak also is, but I don't know him. But this Vasek, I can, I have been in a close contact with him. So something that he does, it's not gonna go away that easily, I think. So he's
Correct.
gonna do it properly.
Yeah, absolutely. So now moving on to French Open, Mukund. None of the Indian players, like unfortunately, none of the singles players, both in the men's as well as the women's, have been able to qualify for the main draw. So what do you feel is really lacking in our players, in your
I
opinion?
mean, this French Open, nothing was lacking as such. I think it was just tough times because Prajnesh faced the same as me. I think he's been in lockdown for most of the months, and I was his only hitting partner. He hasn't played on clay for more than a year now. Sumit, I was really expecting that he would do something in the French Open because on the hard courts itself he was playing some good tennis.
Yeah.
And clay is his favorite surface. But again, he played a guy, Dustin Brown, who just swings everything out of nowhere. And that particular day, I think it must have fallen in. He's a very tough player to play. I think one of it can go either way. Sumit could have won 1-1 or 2-2, and he could have lost like he did because Dustin is a player like that. And Ankita, I have no idea how she plays. Honestly, I know her as a friend personally. I talk to her sometimes, but I have zero idea how she plays. So I don't know exactly what happened there, or is she capable of qualifying on a normal day, or she's not. So it's better I don't judge. But at least Prajnesh and Sumit, nothing was lacking as such. I think they could have easily been that both of them qualified and made third round each. It could have easily happened.
Yeah.
If a few things went right here and there, you never know. At least they could have qualified for sure. Nothing was lacking to qualify. This they could have done. Maybe just 2 bad days in the office.
Correct. Okay. So now coming back to you, Mukund, you're part of one of the best foundations supporting athletes in India, and that is Virat Kohli Foundation. So how did that happen for you?
Mahesh got it for me in the Davis Cup. When I went, I had no idea about it. He just said, I got you somebody who can give you some money. And I said, okay, sir, thank you. And that's about it.
Okay. All right. And so now you have an organization supporting you financially, right? So is it like an added pressure when you're performing that there is someone else who's who is like a stakeholder now to your performance? So is it like added pressure on coach?
The thing is that the support for a player in India, it's already very, very marginal and low compared to any other country. So of course, if I signed 10 endorsements and I get paid 5 crores a year, I would feel that pressure. Even then, I think for being the number 3 or number 4 athlete in the country for any sport, even 10 crores a year is nothing. Because if I was a cricketer and the number 3 batsman in the Indian team, I wouldn't even know how much money is there in my bank account. So we are talking probably 100 crores a year. So I think 10 or 15 crores also even in a year would not add any pressure on me, because that's equal to the level that you're playing.
Correct.
So it shouldn't. That's the level that the guys are in. No, I mean Prajnesh, he was India number 1, and that's literally Virat Kohli in another sport.
Correct.
And I mean, no offense, although Virat Kohli supports me, and no offense to all you cricket fans, but I think you can't compare making it in tennis versus making it in cricket. I'm sorry, but this just requires more money, more traveling, everything, and he still made it. And so I think if he gets a contract for 1 crore a year, this doesn't add any pressure on him. I don't think he even feels it, because it's just already so low. It's just so below the wages that he's supposed to get paid. So it doesn't really matter.
Correct. Okay. And, things have now changed when it comes to, sports from how we had before. Now we have proper talent management agencies today, to cover everything for an athlete with respect to their signings, their sponsors, their social media handles for that matter. So how do you feel about this, responsibility of yours being taken by Cornerstone?
It didn't get taken. I still manage my own social media, and I speak to my own sponsors. They don't, so I don't really feel what it feels like having a manager. Although I did. There was one person called Dhwani who I'm very close friends with. Just personally. When she was there, it was a bit different. But I mean, I have two contracts, and one now. I just have Lotto. I don't even have Yonex anymore. So. I mean, to talk to one company, I can, I don't need to depend on somebody else to do that. If I have 20, then to save my time, they can do it.
Yeah.
I don't think it makes sense to call them and talk to one guy. I mean, I have nothing to do all day other than playing tennis anyway, so I can do that for myself and be self-independent. So I can save them the trouble. I think there are other athletes that they need to take care of, and if it's getting a bit too much, or if it needs negotiation, then of course. But I don't think I am at that level right now that somebody handles my social media account.
Okay. So now, Mukund, with that, we come to the end of our first segment, and our next segment is called ACE. And for that, I'll be sharing my screen with you, and there'll be a few questions that'll be coming in. So you need to answer them. I am the top-ranked female table tennis player in India. I won the gold medal in the 2018 Commonwealth Games. Who am I?
Manika Batra.
Yes. I'm former world number 1 in badminton. I recently won the gold medal at the South Asian Games 2019. Who am I?
Sri or Kashyap? Srikanth.
You have to choose one. Yes, you are right.
Yeah.
I was the captain of the Indian squad for 2020 Under-19 Cricket World Cup. I currently play for Sunrisers.
I have no idea, dude. I have zero idea. Really.
You want to take a guess? He plays for Sunrisers Hyderabad in IPL.
I don't know. I don't know one name of an IPL player except Dhoni. So I really don't know.
Okay, so that's Priyam Garg.
Okay, never heard of him.
I'm the first female wrestler from... Yes, absolutely. I am an Indian track and field athlete. I clinched the gold medal in the Commonwealth Games 20... Yes, absolutely correct.
Yeah, except the cricket one. Yeah. Actually, the one being an Indian, I should be acing, but I didn't.
Yes, that's all right. So there's one last question that I have for you, Mukund, and that is, what are your plans for the future? Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
Where do I see myself in the next 5 years?
Yeah.
As a husband, I think.
Okay, and with respect...
I'm kidding. India number 1 probably.
Okay, I'm sure you will achieve that. So if you want to share with me, what are your plans for reaching there?
I think just to stay patient and keep going. I have all the ingredients that is needed now. I've worked hard to collect it. Now it's just a matter of time to put it into place and wait for it to happen.
Absolutely, just the execution bit is now probably left. Yeah. Okay, Mukund. So it was great chatting with you, Mukund. Thank you so much for joining me today, and thank you for sharing all that you had to share.
Definitely, it was a lot of fun as well. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Mukund. Yeah. So what exactly did you do, and what were the changes that you saw, as compared to what you had in your state?
In Ahmedabad, I was just playing 1 hour at court. That's it. That's about it. But in Pune, when I went outside, there were 2 sessions in a day, which one session was lasting 3 hours. So it was very different for me. It was quite challenging. When I went outside, that's how I got to know that, this is the reality and this is what you need to do to become a player.